Is it better to build your dream home from scratch or buy a ready-made property? And I'm not going to be having this conversation alone. I'm joined by our own managing director, Mr. Adebayo Giwa of Realistic Projects Limited. And somebody just clock it. If you're there, just clock it wherever you are. Yes, that's the managing director, Mr. Adebayo Giwa. And Realistic Projects is a construction company that builds for developers and individuals as well as institutions, both private and public. And Mr. Adebayo Giwa, for how long have you been in this construction industry? Because I know that with your proven track record, you know the small man for this industry. Mr. I know your face show your shoe shine.
Thank you very much. My name is Adebayo Giwa, the MD of Realistic Project, like you rightly said. The company has been in existence for average of 7 years now, and I personally have been building for over 10 years. And we have handled over 30 projects for individuals and developers and government institutions. Yeah.
All right. So now on one side, we have those that believe that building gives you total control, your design, your pace, your vision. And on the other side, we have those saying buying saves time, it reduces stress and gets you straight into living your life. I think I am on that side. I don't like stress. Let me just buy this out and move on. But there are a lot of people that think building is better. So that is why it is best to have someone in that industry, someone that is really willing to like give us all the tea in this. So today we are not just going to be talking, we are unpacking the realities behind building and the realities behind buying also. So the means and the cost and the emotional attachment that comes with all of these things and the smart decisions behind both options. So stay with us and engage in the comments, drop your question and let's get into it. Because by the end of this session, you might just have your answer or at least a clearer direction. So let me just get straight into what my own first question is. Personally, let me ask this quickly. If someone has money right now, let's just say something like 20 million naira, they have that money today, what would you personally advise them to do, to build or to buy?
Okay. There are many factors around it. Whatever you want to do, there is no one size fits all to this discussion on you buying or on you building your building, right? Your project, your dream home. It all depends on the factors around it. Depends on your budget. Saying 20 million in the economy that we are today, 20 million can barely build you or buy you any substantial building, right? Now, it now boils down to what are your goals around what you want to use it for. Then it talks about the location that you are looking for and the credibility around you building. If you are looking at building, who are you building with? If you are looking at buying, who are you buying from, right? So now we are not talking about only the due diligence of getting property in terms of legality of it. Now, what about the you getting a durable building? You getting a durable building. Is it that you are getting it from a contractor or you are getting it from a developer? So which is the best option for you? And to now answer your question in a straight line, we are going to be breaking down the factors around you making that decision whether to buy or to build. Yeah.
So if I heard you clearly, you mentioned two different things that I really like. You said building with and buying from. So does this also mean that Realistic Projects Limited, we can do these two things with you?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We can handle you building and we can handle you buying. You can buy from us or buy from the developers that we build for. Yeah.
Okay. So I think that's going to lead me to my next question. Let's look at today's Nigerian real estate company, like the real estate market. Which option is actually more realistic for the average person. And what I mean by the average person, me and you, we both know that the minimum wage in this country is 70,000 naira. So for somebody that is now earning between 300 to 500,000 naira, so how realistic is this option to them in building or in buying?
Okay. There are about two options, but both two options are long-term plans, right? For somebody that is earning so low, depending on the age um, bracket of that person, if we are talking about youth at the moment, building your own house sincerely is like buying down capital, right? The best thing would have been investing in it. So that one, buying, when you are investing with low capital, the best option or the recommended option is you buying from developers where you can have turnovers over time, right? Where you can say you are entering for somebody earning below 500k. It means that you want to be investing maybe a million, 2 million annually. That you invest in it, you get it back, you reinvest your proceed and add more. So in a plan of 5 to 10 years, the compound interest in investing in real estate can now give you the accumulation and result of building or buying your own from it. Because building at the economy rate that we have now is going to cost you a lot. For somebody earning low, what you are relying on is a long-term plan, which is going to be a compound interest. That's the option one. The option two is also a long-term plan, but it's a little bit quicker one. Then number two, you might be getting your building early. But the disadvantage of it before saying it is that the level of entry is a bit low. Those are the mortgage plan. With mortgage plan, and there are some government opportunities that you can pay a certain amount of money at the beginning, then you spread the rest, some over 15, 20 or 30 years, and you would have been given access to that property, right? To that flat or apartment. So that's the second option, whereby if you are a good taxpayer and you are qualified for the mortgage, then you can pay a certain advantage upfront, then you own the apartment for your use or for investment purpose. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. So before I go into my next question, I want you to give us a brief overview of what building entails and what buying entails. So if we are building, what are some of the prerequisites that I should be looking forward to? If I'm going to be buying, what are some of the prerequisites that I should be looking forward to? So if I'm building, what are the factors to consider? What are the advantages and the disadvantages? If I'm buying, what are the advantages and the disadvantages? So just give me a full overview of that.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's start from building that you mentioned earlier. If we are building, after doing your due diligence in getting the land, making sure you engage the professionals that are right, for example, using a lawyer to confirm the legality of that land, using the right realtor to actually get it. Now, building on it is all about getting the right professionals. When we have the architects, the engineers, the builders, and all. Now, having a reliable construction company can give you all these professionals together. So, you engaging a construction company or a contractor, you have to know who are they associated with. Building is not a one-man kind of thing; it's a teamwork. So, whoever you are engaging must have the team, to do all this due diligence for you in the process of buying, right? Then the other thing is knowing your cost. There are many abandoned projects in our environment that we see that are abandoned, whether big or small. And one of the major things is that a lot of people just start building without knowing the cost of that project. They just feel like, okay, let's just enter it. When we enter it, we'll start. And whatever you are doing, building for yourself or you are building for investment purpose, the capital, the source of the capital, the source of that money shouldn't be affected. That is maybe your personal business or from your workplace, wherever you are getting the money from, should not be too much or should not be affected at all. So a lot of people start building without knowing like the full budget or an average budget that they are going to spend. Some people start having issues from the foundation level, the building that you have not gotten to the roof, not to talk about the finishing, and from the foundation level they have started having issues with it, and that can lead to maybe not using the contractor again. They want to do it by themselves with the artisans, and compromising will start. Those are areas where building collapse also comes in. So engaging the right contractor, knowing your cost, by a QS quantity surveyor who are the professionals in costing building projects will really, really help you. So that you will know that, okay, if the cost of this project is 200 million and I can now afford 100 million, now it's 50 million that I can afford. Okay, let me spend this 50 million, then I can go and rest rather than having issues on it. So after 50 million, you know that you have 150 million to spend. You can plan for another 3 months, then continue your project. So with that, you understand everything around it, and it's not going to give room for compromise and all that. So to cut it short, in the aspect of building, you need to look at the contractor you are giving the project to, then knowing your cost, right? Knowing your cost helps you a lot. Now, in the aspect of buying, there's a whole lot to check around that. Buying, you are most likely buying from a developer. Now, you need to look at, after doing your due diligence about everything, the legal aspect of getting the property. The other aspect is the durability of your building. The first thing is, what is the record? What is the track record of that developer? Who are the professionals? Who are the construction company or contracting company or engineers, consultant that the professional is using, the developer is using to carry out their project is very important. Then checking through, does this align with the goal you want to use it for? That's the what's it called itself, the property you want to buy. Does it align with your budget? Is it properly built? You can engage your own professional outside the developer zone to confirm, because in some cases, developers build in mass. So because they build in mass, they are able to cut some costs properly without illegality, and it is from cutting that cost that they are going to see their gain. So if they are not going beyond that, then you have a good deal and they are going to build properly for you. But if they are going beyond that on trying to get rigorous profit or trying to sell to too much people than they are building, so that's where issues of building that you buy not being durable. And also, there must be a warranty that, okay, from certain years to certain years, I shouldn't have issue with this building. The same thing, even if you are building yourself and you are using a contractor, there must be a warranty that, okay, within this time to this time, there shouldn't be a structural issue. If there is, then the developer or the contractor is responsible for it. And also, aside the durability of the structure itself, the MEP services, the services of the building, when we are talking about the plumbing, the building not having leakages, the electrical aspects should not having issues. There should be a warranty around that, to get all these things done. Now, talking about some advantages of building yourself is that people, after doing your proper due diligence, people get to be able to have control of whatever is going on. You can quickly make adjustments on what is being built for you in that aspect to talk about. But when you are buying, it is what you made there that you are buying. You might be satisfied with one aspect of the building and you are not satisfied with one aspect. But when you are building yourself with a contractor, with a professional, you'll be able to make adjustments as the project is going on, even though it is not advisable that you are making timings corrections or adjustments. It's always good that during the plan, you are involved in the design process. That's one of the beauty of if you are building yourself too. You are involved in the design process. You can select where you want your kitchen to be, how big you want it to be. You can pick where different room and spaces can be in your building. To decide of when you are buying that everything is built the same way, the way the developers and their team feel like it should look like. But if you are building yourself, you can decide wherever you want your spaces, how you want it to be arranged, right? And during construction, you can still make few changes to match because most people don't really understand the plan until they start seeing how it looks like physically. So during that time too, before the final finishing, you can still make few adjustments to make sure that okay, you are getting what you actually want and what works for you and your and the purpose you want to use it for. On the other side of buying, you are not getting that. You are, getting what you want. Now, breaking it down to budget and time, right? Um, Breaking it down to budget and time. If you are looking at time, that is the time frame, maybe you are just getting back from abroad, or you just got maybe your savings or your investments, and you don't want to waste time on it. It's better you just go for buying. Do your due diligence and buy whatever you want to buy at once, right? Because of the inflation rate and all that, if a property is being valued or priced at 250 million, right? You can just drop the 250 million and get your building once and for all. If you feel like when you want to build, maybe what is going to build it will be around 200 million. If you are not careful, inflation within the period of time that you want to build can make you end up, after all the stress going through the process, you can end up spending the same 250 million or more, right? But if the economy of the country at the moment that you are buying is fine, right? So you might end up spending that 200 million and saving 50 million. 50 million can get you a nice car as a bonus, as a bonus to your building. So those are the pros and cons. You must get your calculation right before starting. Now, what are the goals? Now, I'm now diverting to the goals. If your
Okay.
goal is that you want to use it yourself, right, and you have the time frame, you can go for building, right? Then you
Yeah.
customize to how you want and all that. If your goal is for investment, for example, for investment, if you want to co-invest is like saying you want to buy from developers. You are not a
Okay.
full-time developer. You want to key in your money and be getting returns. It's advisable that you buy from a reliable developer, that have the experience and that can share the cost across board, right? Rather than you bearing everything, right? And if the goal is that you want to gift someone, right? Depending on who you want to gift, you can also decide to build for the person, or can buy from some parts. Somebody uh, that you are buying for, you want to save some cost because you are buying for that person. So buying will also work for you in that angle. Okay, so it's not a one size fits all. It's always around your budget, your timeline that you need that to be achieved, and some other things that you want to, that you're going to put together to decide which one are you going for. Now, no matter who you are, at some point in your journey of building or investing, you always have when you are going to pick one and when you are going to pick the others. So in your journey in real estate, in construction, you will always be in the shoe of buying sometimes, and you always be in the shoe of building sometimes. So you are going to use both. Yeah.
Thank you so much. You really gave us like an um, elaborate conversation on what the building and the buying should look like. But from what you mentioned, you talked about warranty. It's from them I want to pick something. So imagine,
Yeah.
so imagine I'm building now, and maybe 2 months after or 3 months after the house collapses. Does it mean that the contractor in charge would have to build the house for me from scratch to finish.
Okay, there's a lot of things around that. If a building collapse, it's not only about you and the contractor or the developer alone now. It has a
Okay.
legal issue, it's even involving the government now, right? So, but from your own side, yes, you um, have the warranty. The developer is to provide or building another one for you, but will you want to trust that developer again? No. So what is going to happen most times is to refund you everything that the project costs, right? Then you will want to do with another contractor to, to do your project for you, right? While the contractor is also going to face the government, to face the government on legal issues why a building should collapse under, their watch. Okay.
So another thing is, in your years of experience, what are some of the
Mhm.
biggest misconceptions that you heard people say about building and also about buying? For me, there is one particular conception I've heard. It's a cultural conception. So there's
Okay.
this idea that from cultural lineage, if you inherit your father's house, you don't have any right to like sell it out. Like someone does not have the right to buy that house from you because it is cultural. Knowing fully well that you don't even have anything you want to use that house to do. For instance, like imagine someone traveling out of the country now. So he inherited his father's house, but there's nothing he's doing with it. But someone else cannot buy it. So what are some other biggest misconceptions that you know about building and buying?
Okay. There's a lot actually. And some of the misconceptions is people believe that um, when you build, you are going to get it cheaper. But it all boils down to the quality that you are going to end up building, right? In terms of looking at it being expensive when you buy also, is that what is the quality of the person selling for you at a cheaper rate, what is the quality of the person selling for you at a bit higher rate, right? So there will always be that difference. And if you are building for yourself also, what are the qualities of the contractors building for you, and what are you also opting for? So there will always be a balance. Like I said, people that feel like maybe the developer's home may be a little bit expensive, is not really true, because most developers, like I said, because they are building in mass, they will be able to build a little bit cheaper than you, maybe 10 to 20% cheaper than you, because they are building in mass. And that 10 to 20% will be their own gain, except the ones that want to go overboard, right? So if you feel like building yourself, aside the aspect of customizing to what suits you, right? If you are looking at building for yourself to higher taste, and buying is always going to be at a little margin. And looking at that little margin, the time frame that you are getting it straight up, I've covered that. If you are buying, you are getting it straight up, or you are buying a semi-finished that you are going to finish yourself. Now, to the other aspect that you asked about, um, maybe somebody that inherited, and it's only if it's in the will of the owner of the property that it should only be for my family use, for my children use, they should not sell it. That is when it's not sellable. But if it's not like that, they can decide to sell, because value changes, and the purpose of doing this changes. What is so much valuable in a particular location today might not be tomorrow. There might be another emerging location that will give you higher value. So you can decide to sell, you can decide to redevelop, you can collapse the building that you inherited and build a proper something. And you can do a kind of collaboration if the building is getting too old, dilapidating and all that, and you cannot afford to read it yourself. You can, you know, come together with a contractor or a developer that will develop it for you. Then there will be a sharing of the property, right? And you can also decide to sell. So there are many options around that. Okay.
Then still on that, are there instances that the government can own that property at the end of the day? If in the will it is not sellable, and then from children to children, nobody uses the house and then it's just there. Are there instances that the government can just say, oh, this house, we are going to have it?
Okay, no, it doesn't happen like that. The government don't have the right to just say, okay, they are taking over your land. But there are some building control rules. For example, in Lagos State, if your building collapse, right, the government is going to take over that property, and it's just going to be seized. It's not that they will really say they have now owned it, something like that. But they will seize the land and nobody can build on it. Nobody, you have to state, you have to go through a lot of process before you can gain the land back, because you are putting people's life at risk. So when a building is old due to maybe inheritance that it has been for long and is looking at like it's going to collapse, the best thing is to demolish the building. And even if you cannot afford, if the family or the children cannot afford to build it or don't want to engage anybody, it's better to just collapse it and let it be an empty land till you arrive to how you want to use it. Because if the building comes down, the government is going to seize the land. Yeah.
Okay, still talking about houses collapsing. At a point in the news, there's a constant show that houses have been collapsing, and then the government will actually go there to oversee it. So, what are the causes of all of these houses collapsing? So, some of them might have even bought the house. Some of them might even be that they were the ones that built the house, and they have occupants living inside those houses. So, what are some of these factors we as individuals, as developers too, what are some of these things that they need to consider when they are trying to take, maybe you want to rent from this place, or you want to even construct, you want to help them in constructing and rebranding the whole place? What are some of the things that we need to consider, and how should we not fall prey of things like this?
Okay. Um, in a lot of series that we have done before on our page, we have explained a lot about, what are the things people should watch out for before buying properties from a developer or before building. Now, I'll now answer from the angle of buying first. One of the shortcuts that I will say is that the first thing is that the buyer should ask for the building approval of that property. Because, for example, in Lagos State, before you can get a building approval, you know, it has been standardized. You must have passed through some process, right? And going through that process, you are most likely going to build right if you go through that process. Then another one is that when the building is completed, another thing that people get from Lagos State Building Control Agency is the completion certificate, like building completion certificate. That certificate means that the Lagos State Building Control Agency are attending to that building from the beginning to the end. They oversee the construction from the beginning to the end. For example, when people get authorization from LAPCA to start projects, one of the LAPCA used to come to the site at every stage of the construction stage. From the pie cap, they will come and inspect what was done. For the columns, each floor columns, they are going to check to satisfy that is okay. For the slab, for each suspended slab, they are going to check till all the structural member of the building is completed. So, and if you don't do that, they are going to seal the site, you know, from working. And if you even try to bypass all those processes, they are not going to issue the building completion certificates, because they will let you know that they cannot sign that you complete this project properly because they didn't oversee your construction process. Are you getting? So with
Yeah.
those process, instead of just asking who is the professional on it, who did this for you, who did this that for you, ask for the building approval, and if the building is completed, then most times people buy off plan. there has to be an agreement that the developer or the contractor must show the building, must get the building completion certificates from LAPCA. That is, that will show that LAPCA also certify that the building is overseen by them. So with all this process, most likely your building is going to be fine. Yeah.
So let's go into some of the risk and maintenance of building and buying. So the biggest mistake people make when they decide to build. Over your years of experience in the construction industry, are there some of mistakes, some of the risk, the biggest mistake people have already made that you think that we as individuals and people as developers should not fall prey of these things? What are some of the biggest mistakes that you've seen in the construction industry?
Okay. To break it down, I will start with the phrase of not following the crowd, not
Okay.
following what people are just saying, trying to go through the normal process. As a developer, you need to engage professionals and you need to know these professionals. It is there's nothing like just one engineer doing all. You have to know all the professionals that are involved in building your projects, right? And knowing them will help you to know what each professional is doing for you, right? So with
Yeah.
that, you'll be able to know everything around it, and cutting corner or not listening to their advice will eventually come back to haunt you. That is going to lead to compromise on your building project. Also, for people that want to build, right, you need to know all the professionals. And when you are using a contractor, your contractor should have all these professionals around to make sure that all these things are properly, done for you. You'll know that, okay, at each stage, the building is okay. Now, talking about the maintenance also, no matter how strong and how durable your building is properly built, if there is no proper maintenance, regular maintenance, preventive maintenance, is going to reduce the lifespan of the building, right? So, talking about regular check on the building, for example, according to Lagos State Building Control Agency, every 5 years, you have to be doing your building integrity test, non-destructive test. That is checking the structural stability of your building every 5 years. That is really going to help to know that, okay, is one structural member getting weak? What should we do on time to it before it go bigger, right? And that one is like that. Then talking about checking leakages, things that can cause fire in the building, regular checks of your wiring in the building, regular checks of leakages in the building, from the toilet. Some people will observe that the toilet is causing dampness to other parts and will just be repainting instead of fixing the leakage properly. Because when your slab, for example, your decking is getting weaker by water day by day, it's going to reduce the lifespan of the structural member of that part of the building. And building is an assembly of many structural members. If one member is getting weak, gradually it's going to be affecting the others. And before you know it, the building is getting older than it should be. So regular maintenance, regular checkups for the building is very important to make it last long. And you have to do that with professionals, be it you are a home buyer or you are a developer. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for highlighting some and most of these biggest mistakes for us. Now, have you seen cases where people regret buying a building? So I'm going to be linking that question up with another one. So people believe that building is emotional and buying is practical. But for me, I believe if I see what I want, I go at the emotion no, at the practical, everything just I just go for it. If I see what I want and I have the money for it, I just go for it, whether emotional or practical or not. And I know that yes, this building is solid and it's okay. But a lot of people believe that building is emotional, while buying is practical. So at the end of the day, and we've seen cases where people now start regretting that, I regret say I buy this building, I regret say I spend money buy this apartment. So what are some of the cases, the worst scenarios that you've seen? Please give us some of those cases, because I'm sure that in your years of experience, you would have met some clients that will say, "Oh, please help us reconstruct this thing, help us do this again." Ever since I've been staying inside this house, I used to hear where now ghost or now spirit. Please help us to pack up the spirit and the ghost. Help us to repaint this house. Help us to restructure the toilet. So, what are some of the worst scenarios that you've seen?
Okay. Because I build a lot, I'll first talk about the building aspect. Um, Most of the issues that people have in building is that not knowing the cost ahead,
Oh,
not knowing the cost ahead. So when they now get into it, the money they think will do the project will not be enough, and they will start regretting that they didn't finish on time, or they will start regretting that they have been spending their business money or their savings money, right? So all these things really affect people from, they now regret that, you had known, I shouldn't have started. You have known, I would have gotten the cost. And some people are always afraid of knowing the cost ahead. They believe that if they know the cost ahead, they will be afraid or they will not want to start. And all these things make them regret. Now, is building emotional? Yes, it's emotional because people feel like it's like saying a child that you gave birth to yourself, right? You know about the upbringing of the child from the beginning to the top, right? So people
yeah.
feel like, okay, if I'm involved from the foundation level, you know, knowing everything that is involved, I see the cement that was used, I see how pure, I see the reinforcement, I see how solid it is. Now, taking it up, I'm also making my own adjustments and suggestions why they are building. I'm seeing all those things. People really love it. Some people really like it. That is if they have the time, if they have the strength to check, to be doing all those things. So people feel like they see it from the beginning to the end, right? So that's why it's a bit emotional for people. They feel like if I close my eyes, I know every G canary, I know every angles, everything about the building. I know the kind of paint I use, I know the kind of this and that that was used to do the building. Now, in terms of buying is practical, I would say buying looks simple because you saw what you want, all right, and you
Yeah.
go for it. You didn't go for the cement and mortar. You didn't go for you just saw the beauty. So even if you are going to upgrade, the upgrade is going to be so small because it's not much. You have seen the standard that you want and you are going for it. So that one feels less free for somebody that don't want inflation to affect the money they want to use to build, for somebody that have the money ready, and for somebody maybe living abroad and is afraid of, trusting people to, help them build from here. So seeing what you want and buying straight up really help. Now, what are the regrets in buying? The regret in buying also boils down to due diligence, right? Um, People end up buying buildings that are not in a legal location to have a building. That's happened. People have, in fact, buying is more risky, right? In terms of
Yeah.
risk, buying is more risky than building. That's the truth. People buy, when you don't buy from a reliable developer, right? There are developers that will make things very seamless for you and they are going to do the right thing for you. But there are bad ones where they will sell building that are not durable for you. And aside being durable, they will sell building for you in a place that they are not supposed to build on. Building on the right way of the canal, building in different places that can affect, um, government coming for your building or the durability of your building. So all these things really, really cause regret for people. Yes.
Okay, so thank you for giving me most of this breakdown, especially for the regrets angle. So let's go into scammers. You know, it's very easy for people to fall into the hands of scammers. Oh, distress sale, or all those people that used to do discount sales and they want to sell houses. So for people that are very interested in buying houses, how do you think they should not fall prey? Yes, I know that there is due diligence, but we've had issues where even your friends will even scam you on top. So how do you think we should avoid all these scammers? Do you think it's better we go to a renowned real estate company, or you should just come to realistic properties? So okay, I want to buy house, so people should help me to buy house. So how do you think they should go through this?
Okay. Thank you. Everything still boils down to when we say due diligence is not only leaving it to professionals to go and check for you. You also need to, look around the environment. All right. Now, if you
Yeah.
want to buy, like I said, when we are talking about the risk, we should be looking at the angle of buying. Like we said earlier, that buying is more risky, right?
Yeah.
So involving your professionals, and one of the issues that people have with professional is that they feel like they are going to pay them, or it's going to make them pay more. But imagine
Mm.
that you want to do an investment of 300 million or more, getting all the professionals that will be involved, paying around 5 million to settle all these people and get what you want to get right is better than, putting the whole of 200 million, 300 million, and you start having issue again. So involving lawyers and professionals in the built environment before buying. The aspect of the lawyer is going to help you about all the legality involved in the right ownership, the proper ownership of that property, right? Now, the other aspect which the built professionals, engineers, architects, builders, quantity surveyors, is that, for example, quantity surveyor will help you know is the value of that property, the value of that building. Now, architects, engineers, builders will help you know there's something called snag detector, something like trying to know the issues that the building are having. You might want to buy a building and it has some little issues. If they are little, it's only professional that will help you know that it's little. So that little, you can call the attention of the developer and they will do the adjustment for you and go. But if it's big, it's only the professional. Your lawyer cannot let you know that this issue of this building is big, except the obvious ones. Maybe the building is tilting. But there are some things inside the building that is only professional that will let you know that this thing is big, you should not buy it. It is your lawyer will help you in the aspect of legality. Is this thing legal? Is the search okay and all that? While professionals will help you know about the durability and the durability of the building. Now, talking about realistic projects, we are contractors involved with professionals, right? So our own aspect is that we have developers that we build for. All these projects that we are building, we build for developers, right? And we build for individuals. So we are a go-to if you want to build for yourself and if you also want to buy. If you want to buy, we have developers that have track record that are going to deliver for you, right? That we can introduce to you that we are the one that handle this project for them, right? And they are tested and trusted because we also select the kind of developers we build for. Developers that don't, adhere to professional advice, we don't build for them. Even if we start with them and we see that they are not, um, you know, adhering to our professional advice, we opt out. We don't build for them anymore. So coming through us will help us to let you know that okay, these are professionals that these are developers that you can buy from. And if you want to build, we can always build for you with good warranty, good professionals, and seamless construction. We let you know the cost of your project ahead, help you plan. If you tell us your budget, we can let you know that okay, this project is going to cost 300 million. But what you have now is 50 million, right? Okay, from this state to this state, is what your 50 million can do. From this stage to this stage is what your 100 million can do. Then you will know ahead without headache, right? And there's warranty on everything we are doing for you. Okay.
So I've been getting some comments on that this. Let me start from Bloomfield Accessories. Thank you so much. Say paying a professional to save future disaster. Isn't that better? Of course it is better. According to what Mr. Giwa said right now, paying professionals is actually better. But then again, I have issues with people that they know that these people are actually professionals, but they want to underpay. Why are you underpaying these professionals? You know that these professionals are actually good at what they do. But funny enough, they will now go outside to other people that they know that these people have like big standard that they'll go and pay that money. But you see the ones that they have close association with, they really do not want to like pay more for it. And it's actually very bad habit, which I know. Like I would have loved us to dwell more on it, but time is actually fast spent, and I want us to go into the very last question. So, but before we go, Mr. EO Friday is saying yes, realistic project is tested and trusted. Talking from
Thank
experience,
you.
so share. So yeah, from the investment perspective, which of these options is like the long-term goal? That it has a long-term opinion. Okay, there are the numbers of years you've had in the construction industry. Which do you think is a smarter choice? Would you rather advise building for personal use and buying for investment, or building for investment and buying for personal use? Which one is a smarter choice that gives a very good long-term project?
Okay, because of time, to give a straight answer, if you want to have a building for personal use, is mostly, good for you to build it. With that, you will be able to have a custom design that suits you, right? Because most buying are like a particular design that they will build the same design for everybody. If they are building like 10 or 15 units, it's going to be the same. But if it's for a personal use, it's always good whereby you can have your own preference. Now, if it's for investment, it is most times good that you buy that. So you can buy a block of flats, buy the block of flats, do it out for rentage or flip it. Flipping is that you buy off plan, you sell it at the finishing level, or you rent it out for any kind of purpose. So if you are investing, it's good that you buy. If you are building for your own use, if you want to get it for your own use, it's good that you build it. Yeah.
Okay, so going to the last question as we round up today's session. If you could give me, if you could give all of us, the whole internet watching us right now, if you could give us one piece of advice for someone trying to decide between building and buying, what would it be? For you personally, which one would you opt for? Would you want to build? Would you want to buy?
Okay. Uh, it's always about capital, right? What you can afford. If you have a large capital, even if you are going for investment, you can also be a developer, which we are going to guide you to. So if you have a large capital and you want to go into investing in real estate, we as a construction company can guide you through all this process, right? But if your capital is small, the best thing is co-ownership of part of development. That is you buying one or two units of a mass development, right? So, in the aspect of the investment, if you have a large capital, yes, you can build yourself, build it, sell it, or use it for whatever is going to give you a better return on investment. But if your capital is small, it's better you buy from developers. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. At Princess Smiles, realistic project, trusted 100%. Human design. Oh, you want to buy and build. Oshe Odogu. I like that. So yeah,
Mhm.
so I'm telling this person that I'm not going to calm down because justice for professionals. So thank you so much everyone for joining our live session this afternoon. We would love that you follow us on our social media pages, Realistic Project Limited, as we're going to be doing this every week. So we're going to be bringing hot, as in the hot, so we're going to
Yeah.
shampoo. Yes, so every week. And
And you can
send
also
us a
talk about
DM for
the
questions.
and we
Okay.
can also talk about the topics they want us to be addressing. You know,
Yes,
today
we have
we
any
spoke
topic,
about,
yeah,
so we'll be
fine.
bringing up different topics that our audience are asking for. So you can talk about some, our audience can talk about the other areas they want us to speak about in the next coming sessions.
Next comment. You can send that to Realistic Project Limited DM direct message. Thank you all for joining this live session, starting from Bloomfield Accessories, Human Design, Mr. EO Friday. We have I saw someone now, Princess Smiles. Thank you for joining. Let me read out those that did not comment, but I have Mohammed. I have justice for just for Magino Justice Abego. We have Ajayi Sadiq. Mr. Ajayi Sadiq. Thank you for joining the live session this afternoon, and we hope to see you on the next live session next weekend. Do enjoy the rest of your Easter break. Don't go to work on Monday. Anything that makes you go to work on Monday, report your HR to me. Don't go to work on Monday. All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Thank you very much. Yeah.